Welcome back to Grit on the Rocks podcast, where we keep it real, we keep it gritty, and keep the combos flowing. I'm your host, David. And here we talk about life, masculinity, and today we're going to be talking about why men leading with emotions. It's basically like handing the keys to your Ferrari to a toddler, right? So remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you're listening to us on platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, right? On your podcast format, follow us. And if you are watching us on YouTube or Rumble, remember to subscribe, and share. This is Grit on the Rocks podcast.
This podcast is a Buenos Dias media production.
This is the Grit on the Rocks podcast, where raw conversations meet smooth sips. Pull up a chair, pour your favorite drink, puff on your favorite cigar, and join us as we dive into the convos that matter. No scripts, no barriers, just unfiltered truth served straight up. Cheers to the real ones out there. Salud.
Yeah. So, fellas, today we're going to be diving into some murky waters. The murky waters of emotions. More specifically, what happens when you let them run the show, right? Spoiler alert, it's really never good. It's just not good. We're talking about broken TVs, awkward apologies, and sometimes even court dates, hospitals, broken hands, broken glass, all that type of nonsense. So, pour yourself a drink, a stiff drink. Light up a cigar if you're into that, and let's explore why keeping your cool is the ultimate power move. For those of you who haven't done so, remember to follow, subscribe, and comment. When you're listening to us on podcast formats, remember to follow, leave us your reviews and all that good stuff. And remember to go to Grit on the Rocks podcast, gritontheRocks.com. If you want to be a part of the show and you want to participate in one of our segments, be it Whiskey, Bar Wisdom, Barstool Banter, Hero of the Day, or if you just want to send some suggestions or topic ideas or, just shoot us a line. You can go to gritontheRocks.com, scroll down to the Contact Us section, and just send us your message. And if it's good, or if it's meant to be put on one of the shows, you could be featured on one of our episodes. This is Grit on the Rocks podcast, a Buenos Dias media production.
The views and opinions expressed by the host, guest, and/or participants of this show do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Buenos Dias Media LLC, its associates, partners, and show sponsors. The content is intended for entertainment purposes and should not be construed as professional advice. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, so let's jump right into this. Emotions, something men have been taught right for years to, keep to themselves, not show the world. I don't necessarily agree with that. But the issue here is, and which is why we're talking about it, is when you let your emotions take control of everything, that's usually never good for anyone. For those who let it happen and for those who surround those people, it gets messy. So first, let's jump into the emotional explosion, right? Emotions are normal, right? We know that. They're healthy. But here's the problem. Men are not exactly known for processing them in constructive ways. Take anger, for example. Anger is like the one guy at the party who starts chugging tequila at 9 p.m. It's all fun and games until somebody's car is on fire, somebody gets all in their feelings, or all of a sudden someone is enraged. I once saw a dude lose his mind during a pickup basketball game, right? He was furious. He missed a layup, threw the ball into the parking lot, and then proceeded to argue with the trash can for 10 minutes. Yes, a trash can. Because apparently it was the trash can's fault his jump shot was trash. When we lead with emotions, especially anger, we tend not to think. We react. And that's never good. And those reactions, I mean, they barely ever end well. So let's take a quick pause here to hear from one of our supporters. And remember, if you want to become one of our supporters of the show or of the website, right? You want to have an ad on our show or feature your company logo on gridontherocks.com, just go to gridontherocks.com and send us a message through our Contact Us section. Don't go away. This is Grit on the Rocks podcast, a Buenos Dias media production.
Looking to connect with like-minded men who share your drive for success and passion for the finer things in life? Welcome to the Apex Gentlemen's Guild, a private members club for men who value ambition, camaraderie, giving back, and personal growth. For a limited time while we're fully remote, you can join the guild for free. Gain access to tons of motivational content, exclusive events, insightful discussions, and a network of high-performance individuals. Don't miss this chance to elevate your social circle. Request to join today at facebook.com/groups/Apex Gentlemen's Guild, or give us a like at facebook.com/Apex Gentlemen's Guild. The Apex Gentlemen's Guild, excellence forged in unity.
All right. So back to the topic on emotions and why letting emotions take control and lead is always a bad idea. I mean, I've seen men completely lose their shit over a tiny, tiny nick in the back bumper of their car that no one else can see but them. I mean, this dude lost it. He had his car in one of these public parkings where you pay and the valet guy takes the car and parks it for you. And when you get back, they get your car. So the car comes back and he sees a nick in the bumper. I mean, I couldn't see it. No one else could see it, but he could. And he lost it. And anyone who disagreed was going to get it too. I mean, that included the parking attendant. He called for the manager. The manager also got it. And even some bystanders got it because they commented something about his language, and it just, yeah. So all this to say that anger should never be the captain of your ship. So why is leading with emotions a bad look? Let's break it down, right? Number one is impulsivity is your worst enemy. When emotions are in the driver's seat, logic is tied up in the trunk. Suddenly you're sending a 2 a.m. text to your ex that says, I miss us, or challenging a guy twice your size to fight because he took the last parking spot. Number two, it's bad for your reputation. Nobody respects the guy who throws a tantrum at work because the coffee machine is broken, or simply reminded of the hierarchy of the company. When you tantrum, you are not assertive. You're just the office meme now. And this is something that people need to understand. Men, when you tantrum and you react in anger, some people might think, those who do this or engage in this type of behavior might think that, because I need to demand respect. The truth is that the more you do this type of behavior, the less people respect you. It is what it is. You become an office meme now, People laugh, people comment, people stay away. It's not good for you. Everyone else continues their life as normal, But to me, one of the most hilarious things is seeing a grown-ass man, a grown-ass adult, man or woman, just tantruming. One thing is you have an issue and you want to talk about it and you want to give your point of view. I completely understand that. But when you let emotions take control and you start to tantrum as an adult, it's just plain hilarious for me, and I know that for many. So, number 3 is that it screams weakness. Here's the real kicker. When you let emotions control you, it shows you're not in control of yourself. And if you can't control yourself, how can anyone trust you to handle real responsibility? I had a friend who once got so mad in an argument with his girlfriend that he punched a pillow, right? But the pillow had a zipper, and he ended up cutting his hand. More of the story. Emotions make you do dumb things, and sometimes those things hurt. I've seen grown-ass men punch walls only to end up with a cast and a medical bill and less respect than he previously had. This I've seen many a times. So, the domino effect of emotional decisions, let's talk about that for a moment, right? Because there's a ripple effect. One emotion decision can snowball into an avalanche of problems, right? When we look at career problems, you send an angry email to your boss thinking you're standing up for yourself. Next thing you know, you're standing in the unemployment line explaining to your buddies why you thought, LOL, you're incompetent was a good sign off to that email. This affects your relationship. It creates relationship issues. You have one bad day, you snap at your partner, and suddenly you're sleeping on the couch. Long term, emotional outbursts erode trust. They rot a relationship from the inside until finally it just falls apart. It has health consequences, stress, elevated blood pressure, and even hair loss. Yeah, being emotional can make you bald. And trust me, no one wants to be the guy yelling at traffic with a shiny scalp. So let's look at how we can keep our cool. Right? So how do we fix this? How do we stop emotions from turning us into walking tornadoes of chaos? Number 1 is the classic pause and breathe. Before you react, take a deep breath. Count to 5. Count to 50 if you need. Give logic a chance to show up. That is a very important one. Channel that energy. Go for a run. Hit the gym. Punch a punching bag, not a wall. Walls don't forgive, and drywall repair is expensive. Talk it out. Call a buddy. Or dare I say, if it's your thing, go to therapy if you think you need that. There's nothing weak about working through emotions constructively. There isn't. It's always good to talk it out. And when we talk about talking it out, it doesn't always have to be a therapist. It could be a buddy. It could be a relative. It could be just someone who, even if all they do is nod and listen, sometimes, not always, but sometimes that is enough. Just getting it out of your system and venting. So remember the bigger picture. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years? If the answer is no, then bro, let it go. So now it's time, and even though we don't have a story from one of our listeners, I want to offer some whiskey bar wisdom of my own and pour out a little advice to help you navigate life a little better.
Whiskey bar wisdom.
All right, there's nothing magical about it. Here, drink this. Tell me what's on your mind. Come on.
Whiskey bar wisdom. You provide the stories. We provide the opinions. Unprofessional advice and the laughter. Great on the Rocks podcast.
So usually we have these stories come from our listeners, But today I just wanted to take out a moment to just give some whiskey bar wisdom without the story of our listeners. So here's the deal, fellas. Emotions are like fire, right? When they're controlled, they can cook your dinner or keep you warm. But if it's left unchecked, they'll burn your house down. Being a man doesn't mean being emotionless. It's being in control of your emotions. A calm, collected man commands respect. An emotional, impulsive man, well, he commands a restraining order. Women are generally seen, right, as emotional beings. And men are often perceived as, quote unquote, emotionless. I personally think that a man should feel his feelings. And I think it's healthy to talk about your feelings and emotions, no matter if you're a man or a woman. As kids, at least in my culture, we're taught to show the least emotions possible as a man. And when it comes down to that thought, I stand in the middle. I think there's a time and place for a man to be vulnerable and express his emotions. And I don't mean sitting in a pool, hugging man and crying and, I feel seen. That's not what I mean at all. But I also think that your emotions shouldn't take control of you and make a spectacle in public. The key words are balance and control. When you let emotions take control and go unchecked, that's the perfect recipe for disaster and lifelong apologies. Relationships, friendships, family bonds, and even business relationships and deals will be ruined when your emotions go unchecked. So the next time you feel the rage bubbling up, take a step back, take a breath, and remember, real strength is in staying cool under pressure. So that's it for today's episode of Grit on the Rocks podcast. If you have a story about an emotional meltdown, yours or someone else's, you can email us at gritontheRocks.com, right? Scroll down to our Contact Us section and you can submit your message, your story right there, and we'll get it, read it, and if you choose to, we can share it on the show. And hey, if you're feeling generous, share this episode with your buddy who needs to hear it. You know the one. Remember, if you want to be a part of the show, send us your story and participate in our different segments by going to gritontheRocks.com, scrolling down to the Contact Us section, and sending us a message. So until next time, my brothers and sisters, stay cool, stay gritty, stay gentlemanly, keep your emotions in check, keep your spirits high, your cigars lit, your glasses full, and your conversations meaningful. Till next time.